I'm sure all of you, because you all come from states, Hawaii, Oregon, and California, where you all experience earthquakes. Earthquakes are very serious events that we all should know the destruction of and how we should react to them when they do occur. Living in California for my entire life, I myself have experienced a couple of earthquakes. As you see here, California is the second most with strong earthquakes. This chart goes by earthquakes that are 3.5 magnitude and above. Magnitude is to measure the size of each earthquake. I also have included Hawaii and Oregon because I know one of you from Hawaii, one of you from Oregon. This chart would be much more longer for each of all these if this included 3.0 and below, which is they're considered earthquakes that you cannot feel as smaller earthquakes. This source I got from the U.S. Geological Survey and Statista. This shows the top 10 earthquakes across the United States that with the most fatalities. As you can see, the most fatalities occurred in San Francisco in 1906 with about 2,000 deaths. And 5 of these on here all came from California and the other 5 from other states in the United States. I got this also from Statista. And it's scary to think that even though earthquakes also happen in other states, that 5 of these did come from there, and the top one did come from San Francisco, which is a big city in California. This is a picture from the source San Francisco Chronicle of what occurred in San Francisco. Over 28,000 buildings were destroyed, and 200,000 people were left homeless from this one earthquake. According to San Francisco Chronicle, this earthquake was a 7.9 magnitude, which is massive. If an earthquake of this size would happen in LA right now along the San Andreas Fault, it would cut off Los Angeles from any other point because all freeways would be destroyed. Downtown would be totally destroyed except like any new buildings that are earthquake prepared, but most buildings are not. This is the most recent big earthquake in California, which is the Northridge earthquake of 1994. This picture comes from Cal State Northridge. This is a parking structure that totally collapsed. There, thousands of buildings also were destroyed, and 60 people died from this one earthquake. It was a 6.7 magnitude according to the Atlantic. I'm sure most of you, if you have your number inputted into the Cal Poly portal, you would have gotten this message Thursday, October 18th. This is for the Great Shakeout Earthquake Drill. I mostly at all the schools I've gone to before, we would actually get under the desk and evacuate outside as a procedure. But here, I guess we just get a text message. And I have seen other colleges actually do that. Like I've seen like on Snapchat, people actually do get under the desk in college. So it was kind of different just having to just get a text message. And I was hoping we actually did do something that I would have mid-stats that day. And basically just telling you to drop cover and hold on. These steps are critical when an earthquake occurs. It's best if you get under a strong surface to protect you from any, especially these tiles. If one hits you, you kind of knock out. And this picture came from shakeout.org. I zoomed in on a photo from Caltech. As you can see over there on the left is San Luis Obispo, and this line right here, all these faults are the San Andreas Fault. San Luis Obispo is right here. So we're super close to it. So if any earthquake happens along this line, it would definitely reach San Luis Obispo. And if an earthquake of 8.0 or above hits Los Angeles, it would send the intense shock all the way up to San Luis Obispo, even Santa Barbara, and cause a lot of destruction here too. As you can see, Cal Poly, since they know all the occurrences of earthquakes can happen in San Luis Obispo, they have a lot of information on the Cal Poly University housing site. You can go there to find out how their evacuation routes, on campus, and other stuff to be aware of. It also gives you a list of supplies that you should have in your room, and other things that are listed also on the slide right here. Also in your dorms, as I have in all Yosemite Hall, I'm not sure about the other dorms, they have an earthquake procedure on the door, so you can read that too to get more insight. Now, to give you a little of my experience with the earthquake, I have a story when I was at Disneyland, and I was on Splash Mountain. It was after the big drop, and the ride completely stopped, and we were there for over like 2 hours. And it took, they announced in the speaker that an earthquake happened. It was about a 4.0, and it totally like shook like all the rides, so all the rides were closed down. And the 2 hours, it took over 2 hours to evacuate the ride, so we had to walk through like all the behind the scenes of Splash Mountain, so that was a really cool experience. But scary too to feel like if something fell in Splash Mountain. I'm gonna go back about the San Andreas Fault. In an article by LA Times and other sources, including New York Times, Washington Post, they include that it's likely in the next 20 to 30 years, 8.0 or above will happen in Los Angeles County or anywhere along the San Andreas Fault. It's over a 90% chance that would happen. And it would cause total destruction all along from Southern California to Northern California because, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, the San Andreas Fault goes 800 miles across California, which is California only being about 1,000 miles. 800 miles is a big significance. Now, living in California, I would advise to do more research on earthquakes because it is critical to our safety, and especially here at Tamakau Poly, since it is a good chance that a big earthquake will happen. Go over the procedures, and if you do, you'll be more prepared next time a big one hits.